Jason Bateman, the well-known actor recognized for his roles in projects like Arrested Development and Ozark, has come under significant criticism following an episode of the popular podcast he co-hosts. Alongside his co-hosts Sean Hayes and Will Arnett, Bateman welcomed pop star Charli XCX as a guest. The conversation, which covered a range of topics from her music career to personal life aspects, took an unexpected and uncomfortable turn when the discussion shifted to the subject of having children. Charli XCX, at 33 years old and recently married to George Daniel of the 1975, openly shared her current stance on parenthood. When prompted about whether she would like to have a child who could share similar experiences to her own or perhaps be an only child she could nurture and protect, she responded candidly that she does not really want to have kids at this point in her life. She elaborated thoughtfully, explaining that while the idea of naming a child and the fantasy elements surrounding parenthood sound appealing and even fun in theory, those very aspects highlight precisely why she feels it might not be the right path for her. She admitted that the coolest part of the concept to her is the imaginative side, but that realization makes her question her readiness entirely. She left open the possibility that her feelings could evolve over time, showing a nuanced and self-aware perspective on the matter. The exchange became awkward almost immediately after her statement. Bateman, who is 57 and a father to two daughters, Francesca, aged 19 and Maple, aged 13, with his wife Amanda Anka, appeared surprised by her response. He pressed further with a, "You don't? Wait, why?" before pivoting to share a personal anecdote from his own life. He recounted how his wife initially did not want children when they first met, but that changed once they were together, and she decided he was someone she could envision having a child with. In what many listeners later described as a misguided attempt to encourage or reassure, Bateman suggested to Charli that her views might shift similarly if she were to find somebody suitable. He framed it somewhat self-deprecatingly, calling it a half-hearted compliment to himself in the process. Charli quickly clarified that she is already married, leading to a moment of visible discomfort. Bateman responded lightheartedly by joking that he needs to start reading the newspaper more often to stay informed. Charli handled the situation gracefully, laughing it off and admitting she had anticipated where the conversation might head and was somewhat looking forward to the predictable reaction. She even teased that perhaps with her next husband, the desire for kids might emerge, keeping the tone playful despite the underlying tension. The podcast format itself contributed to the dynamic, known for its casual, unscripted style where one host selects the guest without the others knowing in advance, leading to genuine surprises but sometimes a lack of preparation. Critics pointed out that this structure might explain why Bateman seemed unaware of basic details about Charli's personal life, such as her recent marriage, and why the conversation veered into sensitive territory without much forethought. Public reaction was swift and overwhelmingly negative, particularly on social media platforms like Reddit and X. Many accused Bateman of being gross and tone-deaf for pressing a woman on the deeply personal choice of whether or not to have children, a topic long considered intrusive and taboo, especially when directed at women. Commenters highlighted how society continues to exert pressure on women regarding motherhood, often disregarding their autonomy and self-knowledge. One user expressed frustration that people should respect when someone clearly states they do not want to be a parent, emphasizing that it's not always contingent on finding the right person. Others argued that happy, fulfilling childless lives are entirely valid and increasingly normalized, and that such assumptions feel outdated in the modern era. Fans of Charli XCX were particularly protective, praising her composure and how she navigated the moment without defensiveness. They referenced her 2024 album Brat, specifically the track, "I Think About It All the Time," where she explores similar themes of contemplating motherhood, the fear of running out of time, the allure of freedom, and the internal conflict it creates. Lyrics like pondering whether she might one day have a child if time allows, or how it could mean missing out on other aspects of life, were cited as evidence that she has already given the topic deep thought. Detractors of the interview suggested the hosts could have asked about her music, her Brat-era lexicon, synesthesia, or other unique elements of her artistry instead of diving into this area. Some felt the host's surprise at her stance revealed a generational or cultural disconnect, especially given how child-free choices are more openly discussed today. The backlash extended to broader commentary on Bateman's sensitivity. Several pointed out his close friendship with Jennifer Aniston, who has faced relentless media scrutiny and invasive questions about her childlessness over the years. Aniston has spoken publicly about unsuccessful attempts at IVF and how she has since found peace with not having children. Fans expressed disappointment that Bateman, aware of how painful such questioning can be from his support of Aniston, whom he has even called a co-mom to his daughters, would engage in a similar line of inquiry with Charli. This perceived hypocrisy fueled accusations of insensitivity, with users questioning why he would contribute to the very pressure he has defended his friend against.